All right. So yesterday on the program, right, we had a clip of Mike Pence on Morning Joe saying vehemently, this Mike Flynn, Mike G. Flynn, Mike Flynn's son, it doesn't work for the transition team. And in fact, let's go through this one more time because maybe it was a mistake. Maybe he misspoke on Morning Joe. But then an hour later, he walks a couple of blocks on 6th Avenue and heads over to CNN with Jake Tapper. And here's his second opportunity, at least that we know of, on TV yesterday to deny that Michael Flynn, the National Security Advisor, son, who is reported to be the chief of the staff for Michael Flynn. We got Michael Flynn Jr., Michael Flynn Sr. They're both lunatics, as far as I can tell. Michael Flynn Sr. has been tweeting out over the course of the campaign all sorts of conspiracy theories, and his son seems to be like the conspiracy, chief of staff, if you will. But here's Jake Tapper asking Mike Pence. Let's see if there's any wiggle room here in his responses.
National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, has been pushing a bunch of conspiracy theories, including one that ended up impacting where you're staying right now, your local pizza place, Comet Pizza. An insane lie spread online. It led a North Carolina man to barge into the restaurant with 2 weapons. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Now, Flynn Jr. Was on the transition team, but a source familiar with the situation tells me that he was asked to leave. And that the direct order came from President-elect Trump. Tell me what happened.
Well, what I can say is that we are so grateful and honored to have General Flynn as our nominee for National Security Advisor. He brings an extraordinary wealth of experience. He's also a dedicated family man. And I said this morning that his son had no involvement in the transition, but I've talked to General Flynn, and his son was helping him a bit with scheduling and administrative items, but that's no longer the case. Look, all of our families want to be helpful.
Now, the important thing is, all our families want to be helpful, and he was just sort of casually coming around. The important thing here is to watch Mike Pence's eyebrows. Yeah. He's got basically 2 eyebrow positions, maybe 3. One is the serious furrowed brow. And that's the serious one. Like, I'm getting down to business here. I'm actually telling the truth. And then we'll see later he has his sort of the uplifted one where it's sort of like, oh, this is sad. This is sad that you're telling me the truth.
Dad, there's a new tweet out about human sacrifice in the Clintons. I'll forward it to you.
All right, so here it is. So Pence has now backed off where he was on Morning Joe in the morning by saying, well, yeah, he's not on the transition team, but he helped his dad with his emails, essentially. He basically helped his dad with his Twitter feed. Here we go.
And 4 weeks to the day from Election Day, there's been an awful lot of work to do. But Mike Flynn Jr. is no longer associated with General Flynn's efforts or with the transition team, and we're focused eyes forward.
You're downplaying his role, but you must be aware that the transition team put in for security clearance for Michael G. Flynn, the son of Lieutenant General Flynn.
Well, I'm aware in talking to General Flynn that his son was helping with scheduling, Jake.
No, but you put in for security clearance for him.
He was helping his dad arrange for meetings and provide meetings.
Pause it.
That's no longer.
Okay, so no, I'm ignoring your question, Jake. I'm in charge of the transition team. And so if he had gotten security clearances, I would surely know about it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to pretend you're not asking me that question, Jake, and just talk about how he's a family man. That's how actually Michael Flynn became his son, because he has a family and actually impregnated a fine woman, and then Michael Flynn grew and was born. So here it is.
But you must be aware that the transition team put in for security clearance for Michael G. Flynn, the son of Lieutenant General Flynn.
Well, I'm aware in talking to General Flynn that his son was helping with scheduling, Jake.
No, but you put in for security clearance for him.
He was helping his dad arrange for meetings and provide meetings, but that's no longer the case.
But do you need security clearance to do scheduling?
I think that's the appropriate decision for us to move forward, avoid any further distraction, and I'm very confident as we continue to build this team. As tonight you'll see the President-elect formally announce General Mattis as the new Secretary of the Department of Defense, that the American people are going to be impressed with the way that the President-elect is bringing together men and women that are make America safe again.
I want to move on to other issues, but I'm afraid I just didn't get an answer, which is, were you aware that the transition had put in for a security clearance for Michael Flynn Jr.?
You know, I've worked very closely with General Flynn. We've met on many occasions. I've never seen his son present for any of those meetings.
But you're head of the transition team, so you know who you put in for security clearances for.
Well, General Flynn did inform me that his son was helping on administrative matters. But Jake, this is all the kind of distraction that frankly, I know, with all due respect, the national media likes to go chasing after. I think what the American people are impressed by, and it's a reason why, frankly, you see public opinion on the rise about the President-elect in the last 4 weeks, is because they're seeing the kind of decisive leadership that Donald Trump is bringing to this transition. It's the kind of energetic leadership that's going to focus on the priorities of the American people, building a team, building a legislative agenda, driving our nation forward to a stronger, more prosperous America.
The last question on this, sir, and I'm sorry, you're not answering the question, which is, were you aware that the transition team had put in for a security clearance? I mean, this is a young man who had a social media profile that had all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories, that had all sorts of links and retweets with white supremacists. Were you aware that the transition put in for a security clearance for him?
Well, what I can tell you is that in talking with General Flynn today, he made me aware that his son was assisting him in scheduling
and that you put in for a security
meetings and well, whatever the appropriate paperwork was to assist him in that regard, Jake. I'm sure was taking place.
Whatever the appropriate paperwork.
And your viewers and the American people can be confident that we're going to continue to drive forward. Look, this is a very challenging time.
All right, pause it. Oh, good. I need to hear more of this. Whatever the paper, security clearance. That's just paperwork. That's just that we give that to everybody. With security clearance, I mean, definitionally speaking, the idea of security clearance is that it's not just paperwork, right? Paperwork is just paperwork. Like, you want to pass to the commissary to get lunch? That's paperwork.
Commissary.
There's a White House commissary. You just want to go to the commissary? That's just paperwork. Oh, security clearance. You mean so that you can actually get clearance for secrets and secure things? That's just paperwork too.
Hey, Dad, 2 things on the agenda today. Number 1, I found out that Hezbollah is creating terrorists through giving women birth control. Going to send you a link to that. Major security challenge.
I've got security clearance,
And number 2, man, I want to finish the security clearance process. All right, Dad? Then I'm going to send you this ebook called The Gorilla Mindset.
How much patent... Like Mike Pence is just sent out there to patently lie, to just lie. And frankly, he's good at it. Yeah. This guy's an animatron who just will tell lie after lie. Like it took like 4 minutes to get even a smile where he's just like, Jake,
you know I'm going to keep lying.
I'm lying to your face. And I'm not going to stop. I mean, I appreciate that you've asked all these questions, but I'm just going to keep lying and occasionally shift my eyebrows a little bit. That may look a little bit sadder. What I want to do is I want to release this same video that we just did. Everything the same, except for I just want to focus in on his eyebrows right here and just to see what that will look like. So we should put a link to this video, and we'll do it where it's the exact same video, but just the eyebrows. Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Subscribe.